Here's to whiskey kisses, the peaty taste of sin.
Greetings, Whisky folk, and welcome back to Drinking Out Loud for Day 2, December 2nd of our Whisky Advent Calendar, here as part of my private club, Dare to Dram. And, yeah, it's a small club. For those of you who are feeling left out, I'm really sorry. If you would like to get a group of friends together to make your own Advent Calendar next year, I'm more than happy to help. But for those of you who are taking part, welcome. Please leave comments down below. And for those of you who are just tuning in for the hell of it, welcome to you guys too. Alright, December 2nd, we are going into a little bit of peat here, although it may not look like it from the get-go, because it just says Bruichladdich on the label. What's going on there? This may well be just Bruichladdich, but you can kind of barely see. We'll put it up in the close-up in a second. It says peat, just above Bruichladdich. This actually predates the old Port Charlotte and Octomore editions. This is back before they started branding their peated whiskey separately. This is just Bruichladdich Peat, and it looked like that. Alrighty, so there we go. The Bruichladdich Peat edition from 2008 was a trailblazer, introducing smoky elegance to the distillery's repertoire before the advent of Port Charlotte. Maritime notes of sea spray and embers meet green apples and honey. The palate balances earthy peat with creamy malt, citrus zest, and peppery warmth. The long finish lingers with sweet barley and soft smoke, a bold yet refined Islay gem. Alright, well, this is an Islay whiskey. It's a single malt scotch. No age statement, but bourbon casks, a small batch limited edition release with 46%, no added colour or chill filtration. Alright. Let's give it a try, shall we? Any other information I should be passing on from the label here? One of the peatiest Islay single malt whiskies around. I don't think it says the ppm anywhere. I wonder how peated they went. Is this like Octomore levels of peat before they came up with the Octomore branding? So refreshingly free from medicinal overtones, just evocative and beguiling peat aromas. A three-dimensional flavour obtained from 3 strengths of peated barley. 3 strengths. So 3 different peat levels, I think, is what they're trying to mean there. The multi-vintage Bruichladdich, innovative cuvées designed by our head distilling legend Jim McEwen. Peat is a beguilingly complex and sophisticated Islay dram. So it's a mix of 3 different ages, but they don't tell us any of those ages. But it does give us a bit of an idea as to why they didn't tell us the ages, because perhaps there's younger and older stuff in here. There is 3 different vintages blended together. All right, number 2. Now, I'm only taking a small sip now because I want to be able to enjoy these later on with friends and colleagues. Oh my! That is just as funky and creamy as I was expecting a Bruichladdich to be. But it's got this sort of funky, barnyardy, Glen Scotia-y, Springbanky thing going on for it too. Oh, this is like raw, unashamed, like Bruichladdich before they started catering to the masses a bit more. This is very interesting. This is different. This is unique. This is very cool. It's, yeah, fun story as to how I got this as well. It's actually a former colleague of mine picked this one up a while ago, and they just hung on to it for like a decade or more, maybe. And one day just asked, like, "Yeah, I've got this whiskey. Like, I don't know why I got it. I don't like peat. I thought that you might enjoy it." I'm like, yeah. And I know at least 24 other people that will too. So I thought it was a great inclusion for the Advent Calendar. It's a really interesting one. It's a bit of a time capsule whiskey to days gone by. And Bruichladdich has a bit of an interesting sort of personal attachment as well, because when I lived in Edinburgh and I worked at the Royal Oak, my leaving present was a Bruichladdich Yellow Submarine edition, which, had I held on to, would probably be worth something, but I didn't. I drank it with my friends, and I'm glad I did, because those memories are worth way more than that bottle would have been worth. All right. Yeah. Creamy, but not acidic. There's a note that I'm sure some of you at home are thinking, because I've said it on this channel before, often goes with Bruichladdich. Lactic acid, yeah. For those new mothers out there, or fathers, with small children that like to drink milk too quickly, you might know what I'm referring to. That's not here at all. I'm not getting that acidicness with the creaminess. I'm just getting creamy, smoky creamy. It reminds me actually of I did it's evidence of this on Instagram. I think I made an S&WS. What's it called? The Scottish cream thing with oats. Athol Bros. I made an S&WS Kalila, I think it was. Athol Bros. It's got that. It's like a creamy, smoky. The more I sip it, the less farmyardy it is as well, which some of you might be glad to hear. It's not necessarily a note that everyone wants to look for, although there's some big fans of the farmyardy whiskies. That's good. That's real good. Fan of that. Yeah. It's one of those whiskies that you can kind of see how it evolved into some of the uber successful whiskies that have come since. It is a little bit more rough. It is a little bit more rustic. I kind of like that. I kind of miss those days of Peter Bruichladdich. Yeah, I mean, I actually had quite recently an old Port Charlotte single cask, and that was stunning in the same kind of way that this was, but with more refinement coming from that extra aging as well. This is probably the same stuff that would now be called Port Charlotte if it's being labelled. I would say it's not Octomore, but Port Charlotte, yeah, totally. This is pre-Port Charlotte, Port Charlotte. This is a young, feisty, wacky Port Charlotte. Oh, very nice, very nice. If you've tried this, and if you're not part of our Advent calendar, you've tried this, let us know what you think of this. Let us know if you think that if Bruichladdich has got better or worse since then, because I think it's certainly changed. I think Adam Hannett's doing a fantastic job since Jim McEwen left. But yeah, I think this house style, especially for the peated stuff, has morphed somewhat since they first started dabbling with it. Lovely stuff. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you tomorrow, December 3rd, for whiskey number 3, Sláinte.